Hello, YouTube. We're back for another session today on the Science is the New Religion script Michael has been laboring this week on. Welcome, Michael. Great to have you back.
Great to have you, Brad. Thanks for putting all the time into my narrative or into my research. Thank you also very much for the listeners out there. It has been an extensive week, and also I'm extremely busy doing these researches, and you will be astonished how everything is connected. And this time we speak about, first of all, the Medo-Persia Empire. And therefore, this episode is called Magi. What's the C doing here? It's not copyright.
Yeah. You mean like magisterium or what was the other one? Magi. Let's see. There was another word that I was thinking of.
It's so interconnected. You won't believe. But first of all,
magistrate. That's
magistrate. Yeah. If I say magi or magic, if I put the C in brackets here and I push return,
copyright? Oh no, wait, you can't copyright magi.
It's just that you see that the C has been.
Oh wait, the devil already did. You have to publish everything in your name.
Okay, so in every time you are distracting me. And contradicting me for your punishment, we will go into another subject.
No, point is,
before we go to Medo-Persia, actually, we have to solve one thing which came into my mind. It's not a punishment, just was joking, but to my mind that it has to be absolutely clear that the old religion in Babylon was actually sun worship.
I'm sorry, Michael. It's just a little bit of humor. I guess it doesn't really.
Yeah, on both sides. On both sides. Also on my side, of course, it's a joke.
Good.
Yeah, but that's why I have prepared two excerpts here, because otherwise we won't catch the point. The point is that this old Babylonian empire religion was actually a sun worship. We have talked about the astrology and astronomy, and everything circles around the sun, which isn't. Yeah, and so you got here the Nimrod and Semiramis, or actually another name you can also take, Baal for Nimrod and Ishtar for Semiramis, and the child Tammuz. You got the unholy pagan trinity. And it is a sun worship. It's the same as the Jupiter statue, which is the same as so-called Saint Peter with the sun disk around his head, or let's say a halo. Yeah, and all these halo in mother-child worship, it's not exclusively only for Babylon, but for other pagan religions too. Yeah. So that I just make the point before we go into the Medo-Persia Empire. But you see that all the names are interchangeable and all the religions are interchangeable. So if you call him Nimrod or Odin or Zeus or Satan or Baal or Osiris or whatever, you see that it's the adversary. It's just another name for a so-called worldly king. And as he was the one who was trying to build the Tower of Babel, he wanted to reach the stars or the clouds, whatever. I'd say he would be a pretty good Pontifex Maximus, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bridge builder between heaven and earth, or the other way around, from earth to heaven. So let's face it, that the Freemasonry also is not only coupled with Egypt, but also with the Tower of Babel. So that was just my point, that we absolutely know that everything is exchangeable. Last time we spoke about the Egyptian Trinity and the Egyptian magic and Egyptian sorcerers and the serpent and the pharaoh, etc. And you see that it's just a succession of Nimrod and Semiramis.
Comment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the topic of magi, the topic of magistrate is biblical. It is a lord, so to speak, of this world. And, we dealt extensively, Michael, many sessions on the satanic media agenda exposed. And my point is this, just real simple. If you want to make money with your products, you must market them and you must fulfill these plans in private. You are contracted to do work in private to, form propaganda. And, you have to publish these works. And, Michael, I spent my whole life not thinking about the whole musical realm very well, because that realm caters to the very evil purpose of working with the magistrates in creating propaganda for the people to consume without their knowledge. They're being used esoterically. It's esotericism. So we have the exoteric teaching, and that's what they do. They make up songs about exoteric blah, blah, blah. So sick of it. But anyway, Michael, it's heartbreaking. But that's the reality of it. From a biblical perspective, we're screwed.
Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and the mammon.
The love of money is the root.
Plain, yeah, but it's plain and simple that all the so-called stars in this world, they serve mammon because they want to be rewarded. They want to have a good life. So speaking about this life. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But I think that both of us are old enough that we can have some kind of life experience. But think of the young people who are totally misled by the so-called media, and we're going into that quite soon.
Yeah, there's just nothing we can do about that, Michael, because these young people, they're living in the exoteric bubble. Mm-hmm. And when they pop the bubble and learn what esotericism is, it freaks the crap out of them. So guess what? People go about their lives until it pops. And then all of a sudden, I just had a nervous breakdown. My life is not nearly what I thought it was going to be. Oh, well, welcome to the 21st century.
They don't see the connection, Brad. You see, they don't see the connection between the Tower of Babel on the one hand and, for example, the Georgia Guidestones on the other hand. When they talk, the Georgia Guidestones talk about a living new language. You see, it's so obvious for
but
people
Michael,
who have studied the
our
Bible.
Age, people 50 years old can be the same mindset as someone that's 20. It's easy. It's really simple.
Actually,
you just live in a bubble your whole life, in an exoteric bubble, and you never consider what true sobriety is, for one, because first of all, you're pumped up on all this whatever. Who knows what it is? Any addiction, it's all the same, Michael. All the addictions, I don't care what it is. And of course, we're dealing with a sex cult here. Sexual addiction is way worse than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think everyone should realize, actually, shouldn't they, Michael? It's horrible.
Yes, absolutely. It includes all of us, that we have some needs, and so the devil knows how to play the cards. He knows how to play the game, and also it's his profession.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
It's his profession.
This is the thing. We're dealing with the topic here that's really pretty hideously ugly, actually. I don't like it, but are we supposed to ignore it? Is ignorance bliss? No, it's not.
You see,
I just want to thank you, Michael, for going through, Aleister Crowley and all that ugly stuff we came out of, and now we're coming back into the Babylonian stuff and going through the empires of this earth, because, we're presently in the end of the Roman Empire, but you see, the Roman Empire fell. See, they taught us this exoteric lie. It's an exoteric lie. Esoterically, they know what they're doing, don't they, Michael? They know exactly what they're doing.
I'm sorry to strangle some nerves by going into Aleister Crowley, etc. But it has all to do with the so-called occult knowledge. And my point is that the series Is Science the New Religion, or Science is actually the new religion, and the old religion, of course, shall deal with the things you will never hear in a Bible study or never read in a reformer's book, so that we can connect the dots so easily that with that knowledge we are presenting here and we are discussing here, you have the almost entire picture. So you got it from a biblical standpoint, you get it from a reformer standpoint, and now you get it from an occult standpoint, so that you see how the lies are being interwoven and how everything is interconnected. And that's my point. If you don't get the history, if you don't get history straight, then you cannot actually judge what is going on in the world. It is actually, the history is proof of the Bible. And knowledge is proof that the Bible is correct, because everything which is depicted here has been proven and has been written into the Bible. You only have to have eyes to see and ears to hear, and then you can connect the dots and you can start to research on your own. Do your own research. I am way from being perfect or something. This is just my spare time hobby that I'm going into that.
Yeah, Michael, comment on that. I would like to add to what you just said, because, each one of us has our own faults. And, we're supposed to confess our faults one to another. But how do you do that with strangers? You're not supposed to. As far as I'm concerned, you don't. But with someone you know, or someone you've known for practically your whole adult life, that's an important thing. We're to know that we have weaknesses. We have strengths, and, that's what we can supposedly boast about. But what is there really to boast about? When it comes down to it, our works mean nothing in the light of a Bible-believing, born-again life. It's not about the works. How about just observing what God has done and being grateful for it? It's pretty simple. But, Michael, I'm sorry to throw you off like this. I hope I didn't. But the thing of it is that you can literally live your whole life in a bubble, and it's an exoteric bubble, because you're living with the principles that were told to you when you were growing up as a child, and you have all these preconceptions of everything. And when you start questioning those preconceptions, then what you are doing is you're, quote unquote, going down the rabbit hole. And people are horrified by this. Oh, you mean I have to look at that? I've been ignoring that my whole life. They'll just spurt out anger at you for even mentioning. But when you're dealing with principles and spiritual wickedness in high places, as it says in Ephesians, I think, chapter 6, or is it 4? I forget.
No, it's 6. It's 6.
Yeah, I thought it was 6:10. Thank you. And okay, so you got to just take it one day at a time. God is going to break a so-called perfect vessel, because there are no perfect vessels. We're not meant to be perfection. Maybe we are in someone else's eyes, but, in our own, we know our faults. We know what we've done wrong. But then again, sometimes we don't until we're told, do we, Michael?
Okay. So I don't want to stress you with so many disgusting details, but you have to be sure that everything is the same under the sun. It's nothing new. So Nimrod, for example, was killed and so-called deified as the sun god. It's the same in Egypt with Osiris, by the way. It's
comment, Michael. Can you go back to that image that you had of Nimrod and Semiramis, was it? Keep going up. It's a couple more slides. One more. Right at the top here, yes. Next to Jupiter there, so-called St. Peter. Okay. Something I want to mention, even though I hate this stuff, really, it's something, that's it's age old. It's been around for a long, long time. But these little cherubs, they call them, like it says Tammuz right down there. And what do you call that? That escalape or whatever he's holding there. Just the way that both of these boys, boy Nimrod, the sun god, and then this Tammuz. That's the way I look at this right now, even though he's probably adult. But this is just such a primary example of how this whole, system of making images and idols and obliterating the what was it now? Second commandment from the churches, like the Lutheran Church. They got rid of that commandment, by the way. We were never told about the full story of Exodus because we're not supposed to know that stuff. See, they don't teach that in our little kindergarten.
They also don't teach
Lutheran kindergarten.
They don't teach the images of naked children. No, they don't teach that. In Italy.
No. They don't. They do some things okay. They get some things okay, but they don't tell you anything about advanced topics at all because it's preschool. You don't even get to graduate. They call it confirmation. It's not confirmation. Michael, confirmation is being born again and having God reveal himself to you. And that's something you can't get in a building. You can't get it in an institution. You get the opposite in the institution. They fill you full of false doctrine. So, no, I was just pointing out, Michael, that this image really strikes me because this reading we did with Jörg Lissman back in the Divine Program of the World's History, there was a picture similar, a drawing similar of what was it? A soldier who invaded the 70 AD, invading Jerusalem and taking Jewish slaves. The soldier was holding the staff the same way this little Tammuz is, and it's almost in that position where it's used as a phallic symbol. And I just wanted to point that out because, these things have an impact on young people that do not think or question about what they're seeing in front of their eyes. And that's why I find these images just tremendously disturbing. But the point is, we're supposed to be wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. We know how this is interpreted, but we can look at this and say, all right, this is how they're trying to indoctrinate us into this ritualistic behavior, Michael, because it's all ritual. This is entirely ritual. We were initiated into ritualistic worship in these churches, whether we like it or not. And I'm speaking for just those that have had similar experiences as I have had. I was born in the Sunday school, raised in the Sunday school. It is just a preschool. You learn just the very, very basics, and that's it. You don't learn why the King James Bible is so important, for instance. And I don't care if it's a King James or a 1611, for God's sakes. Start slow and then learn later. That's how God reveals himself, Michael. It doesn't happen overnight. It might take 50 years. I don't know. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, to make a long story short, so Nimrod was the sun god. So you see that we got today our feast day is the so-called sun day, the day of the sun. And that's nothing new if you are a follower of our channels. So all the religions derive from Babylonian, and they have common themes. Yeah, so that, for example, Nimrod fell to a violent and most untimely death. We don't go into that subject because it shall deal about science in the first place. And it has been depicted in the book of Psalms and in other books of the Bible too. For example, here in 1 Samuel 11, etc., etc., etc. So I don't want to make a repetition here, but just that you know that there are numerous accounts in the Bible also about this behavior, that he was being cut into pieces. That will be very interesting because it is the same or nearly the same. It's similar to Osiris, and here later things will be solved later on. So I'm skipping it. And now you will see that I'm not mistaken. It's not the satanic media agenda, or is it? You see, for example, all these artists also, they are worshipping the sun, and this is our so-called drug user. Carlos Santana, that's actually his real name. And he has some quotes of soul sacrifice. And just look at the cover of Samba Party. Yeah, has nothing to do with the dance, has much to do with the desert, and has very much to do with the sun. So that's Santana. You see, you have it in the industry as well, the sun worship. Just by a simple cover, has nothing to do with the dance. Samba Party means samba for you. Has nothing to do with sun. You can dance samba also in the dark or inside. What else? Yeah. So everything has to do with supernatural, occult things. For example, this is Santana, very famous artist. Oh, another thing which is related to Persia actually is 2001: A Space Odyssey. The opening sequence, when it's been dark and the sun goes, quote unquote, up, yeah, then they play Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Zarathustra is the founder, so-called founder, of the religion of Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrism. It's hard to pronounce, but you see, this is not by accident. This is sun worship once again. This is sun worship.
Looks like Eucharist worship.
Yeah, that's also the same. That's also the same.
Minus the monstrance.
Yeah, the monstrance, and also the German so-called philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He has a very famous work, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and it's everywhere. Actually, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. All this pagan thing, Emerson, Lake and Palmer with Jerusalem, or Pink Floyd. Yeah, Pink Floyd is the same. It's also sun worship. Look at the big gong here. Yeah, it's also a sun symbol with Pink Floyd. Just to mention it. Yeah, it's just coming from this lecture we did on the Pink Floyd sessions on the satanic media agenda. Another one is The New Age of the Earth from the German instrumental group Ashra Temple, actually. Ashra Temple, you got the religious worship already. And this is, I'd say a sun.
Eight-pointed star.
Yeah, this is sun rising. Yeah, the sun rising, yeah. Yeah, this is Ashra Temple. It's a group from Berlin. Besides Tension, Dream, Agitation, Free, Can, and etc., some of the German instrumental things. I'm not going into Frankie Goes to Hollywood. This comes from the German script, which I did. This book, Zarathustra. Yeah, and also the computer in 2001 from Stanley Kubrick is called HAL, HAL. It sounds the same as hell down below, huh? Okay, so let's make it quite clear. Nietzsche means that God is dead, but I think that God has proven otherwise, that Nietzsche is now dead and God is still alive.
Oh, comment.
Yeah.
You know that HAL 9000 thing. I heard from someone, and it's true, if you take and switch the letters up one each, you have IBM.
Yeah.
So, and I forget what year that came out, 1968?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually, this is the really absurd thing. It was 33 years from beforehand, 2001. So, yeah, they like to put that message out in your face.
They support one another. It's a big family and it's a big club, and we all are not in it. Exactly. For example, here in the Frankie Goes to Hollywood song, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, in one version it speaks about a narrator in the beginning, and he says, in song and dance, man expresses himself as a member of a higher community, and this is quoted from a book of Friedrich Nietzsche, also The Birth of Tragedy. You see, all these people are in the same mindset. Yeah, if you have the band of imagination with the serpent around the column, yeah, and Ashra temple with the looks like a pharaoh and a serpent or a snake or a cobra. What else? I think it's a good follow up on our last session, and this is coming from these artists. Everything to do with worshipping the creation.
Yeah.
Worshipping the creation instead of the creator. Yeah. Also, Ashra Temple is very much connected to Timothy Leary, which is the professor of LSD, and they were recording during a session with LSD putting up into 7-Up drinks. Yeah. So it's absolutely it's no joke. Absolutely no joke. I'm not joking. And these people are really professed people. These are professors, etc., etc., etc. Also, everything at the end of the 60s, it's about drugs. And he also collaborated, this Timothy Leary, with the Billy Idol Rebel Yell, which means Satan. Satan is the original rebel, or in the Bible, it speaks of Nimrod as the rebel. Yeah. In the midnight hour, she cried more, more, more. Why in the midnight hour? You guess it. You guess it. You guess it. I'd sell my soul for you, babe. Yeah, or baby, yeah, Babylon. I'd sell my soul for you, Babylon. It's always the same words. It's always the same connection. Also, the guitarist, if you draw the line further from Billy Idol, Steve Stevens has been has made the soundtrack for Top Gun. Top Gun has been depicted by Tom Cruise, who is in Scientology. You see that all the big family, and you and me are not in it.
Maltese cross with the sign of Anu.
Everything else, you see, and also Mr. Leary was connected in relationship to Winona Ryder and Uma Thurman, which is the female version of Bruce Lee in Kill Bill. But nevertheless, let's get back to the real deal. Yeah, he said that God is nothing else as sex, means Timothy Leary. These are all these people are worshipping or wanting to be worshipped as gurus. Yeah. Timothy Leary, you see, no comment. Actually, no comment from my side. It's too obvious what these people are also into. Yeah, but these people are the professed people. Yeah, these people are the people who are talking and teaching at the universities. Yeah, these are the people in the universities. His nickname is High Priest of LSD. So, and if somebody has a band called Ashra Temple, you see the name says it all. And this is Tangerine Dream, for example, a quite unknown German band, Brad, which also had the strange light effects on their stage. And also, for example, if you just allow me 30 seconds on that, just an album of Tangerine Dream, which I used to have and listen, is Stratosphere. It is fear. It is not a stratosphere with PH. in English. In English, it is a stratosphere. Yeah.
Sphere, yes, a sphere.
Yeah, but here it's fear. It's fear actually. It's fear in the stratosphere. So it's fear in the air. So you see, and the big sleep is of course the death in search of Hades. Hades is the lord of the underworld, the same as Osiris in Egypt. Yeah, it speaks of Satan. 3 a.m. at the border of the marsh means 3 a.m. is the opposition of 3 p.m. That's the time when Jesus Christ has been crucified, and this is the time where real Satanists are worshiping Satan as the winner against Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ was crucified. It is not the midnight hour. This is for the lay people.
Michael, you're speaking some esoteric knowledge here, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, so right. the entire things here, intention and dream, are all occult.
Yeah, but when you're young, you don't ever think about it.
Yeah, no, just want to mention it. And also the same with Jean-Michel Jarre. Yeah, very famous French composer. Yeah, you will know them by their fruits, won't you?
Ooh, those who hate me love death, is what it says in Proverbs. Yeah. Speaking of the Lord.
Yeah, and 40 years later, he made the successor Oxygen 3. So it doesn't seem much better. Yeah, doesn't seem much better. And they don't kiss and tell, huh? So these people actually are all interconnected. This is equinox. Yeah, people are watching you. Equinox means also the
serpent. Yeah.
Yeah, the summer solstice here, the shadow snake on Chichen Itza. And equinox also is a prominent illustration of Aleister Crowley. So you make up your mind if he actually means what he's, what the track has been called. So it's about cannibalism, actually, this religion. Yeah, but never mind. You see that if you see the pictures, I guess you on the fruits you will know them. Okay. So he's also been making the music for Jesus of Nazareth. I don't want to hear that, I think. And his father had a career as the composer of movie music in Hollywood. So
you're starting to ring some bells here, Michael. 1988, I think it was, or 87 or 86. With the soundtrack of the Passion movie. It was, what was that
Gabriel
called again? It wasn't called
Last Temptation of Christ.
Last Temptation of Christ by, forget the name of the producer. Boy.
Yeah.
I forget his name. What a load that is, man.
Yeah.
I don't ever recommend anyone watch that movie. It'll destroy your faith. Study the Bible. That's where you want to get faith from. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, you see that it's always the same. The people have also the same symbolism, the one-eye symbolism. Jean-Michel Jarre in Magnetic Fields. It's always the same. Yet you have to be aware. You have to train yourself to look carefully into these things.
I think it was, Michael, after all of my experiences in 1989 and 88, I wrote a song called I'm Looking for the Beast. And it was kind of fun. You know, that's the one song I can look back on and say, yeah, I was starting to think about something, you know? But anyway, Michael, I'm not here to talk about myself.
I'm not talking about myself either. I'm just talking about the facts. And the facts are that Mr. Jean-Michel Jarre was the first musician from the West who may have had the allowance, who was allowed to play in the People's Republic of China. You see what kind of connections he must have. Okay. And you see that also he made things with King Crimson, Adrian Belew, and Peter Gabriel, David Bowie, etc., etc. Also for the NASA, for the National Aeronautics and Space, etc., or Never a Straight Answer. So he's got connections unto the highest level. And he made also big, huge concerts. And also for the visit of Pope John Paul II in France, he did the music.
Who did?
Jean-Michel Jarre did the music for the visit of Pope John Paul in Lyon, in France.
I never knew that.
After the Pope has blessed the city, of course, not before. After. Yeah.
Which city?
Okay. In Lyon, in France. This is in France. Yeah, it's south of France. It is, I think. Okay.
Thank
you. Yeah. And so also in the Guinness Book of Records, it's been mentioned that there were more than 2 million spectators, or even 2.5 million spectators in the Place of the Republic on the Arc de Triomphe 1989. And you see this is a light show he did. Paris La Défense, this is a village of Paris. Yeah, you see what kind of big event that was.
Roman arches, yeah.
Yeah, Roman arches, and you see that I think if you really think that Paris has been named after a judgment of Paris, which has something to do with the Trojan War. I'm not going into that, but you see that even the town Paris has a resemblance to mystical and legendary things and pagan belief systems. Okay, so then let's get back. This is the light show of Jean-Michel Jarre with the pyramid. Oh, what a coincidence. Pyramids everywhere. And this is Jean-Michel Jarre in his famous colors, red and black for Satanism.
Comment, Michael,
yes.
Quick. Was that a Jacobin hat he was wearing?
Kind of,
that is. Right.
Kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Jacobins are French, correct?
I guess.
French Revolution, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the birthday of the French Republic, so it is highly likely that it is. Yeah.
And this is Jean-Michel Jarre right here?
Yes, this is him, and this is kind of a strange artificial robot or something like that, which been depicted on the stage. I don't know for what purpose. You see that they draw everything. It was 30 years ago. You see that they were drawing some strange laser things onto the skyscrapers. Yeah, and in the middle you see that Jean-Michel Jarre has been playing here from the pyramid stage on the pyramid. But why did he had to come up with the one eye symbolism? And why why did he had to come with a pyramid? And why did he come up with that symbolism?
The serpent. Yea, hath God said.
They did not had any other animal in store but a snake. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah. It sounds so horrible. Nothing nice. There could be a dove. You see, the dove or a dolphin or something else. No, must be a snake, of course. Brett, just move on. Rush into that. You see pentagrams, a snake.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Every time same.
Let's see. Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, you see that this sounds like a choral here. It sounds like a church. It's actually it's a ritual. Everything is a ritual.
Sure.
Yeah. He wanted to make a concert during a total Sonnenfinsternis.
1991.
When the sun is totally blackened. What's it called?
Oh yeah. You're talking about an eclipse.
An eclipse, yes, a sun eclipse, total sun eclipse. But the ship, who was supposed to bring the stage, has been drowned in the oceans. I found that very strange. But yeah, what else? We're skipping to the things. This is one eye symbolism. The 12 dreams of the sun. You got the sun very prominently here in that thing. You got also his concert on the pyramids of Gizeh. Oh, what a strange coincidence, huh? That he using the pyramid as his screen, or you see that, Can it be more obvious than that? Can it be more obvious? What they all are up to, they are all into the same cult. And it is not a very nice one. Yeah? Yeah, you see they are shooting flames or shooting rockets down to heaven. Also, this is a ritual. Many people are misled that it has something to do with the end of the year, but actually it's also...
Well, yeah, that's really interesting you bring that up, Michael. It's not a nice group of people. And the thing of it is, their influence is so great. If you get on the other side of that... Mm-hmm. Then you will hunt us down like prey. And I mean, the esoteric will always be willing to sacrifice anyone that has any real faith as part of their ritualistic belief system. It's so incredibly evil that we dare not go there, but that's how it works.
But it is very clever. You see that it just, the fun fact of it is they are laughing about the people because they are doing it so subtle, Brett. Subtle is the word.
Well, they may have laughed about it back then, but they're not. Things have changed a lot these days.
We made it into the first third into the script now, so I can close it down now because I've got another surprise. Look. Are you still there?
Yes, Zoroastrianism. Yeah.
No, not yet.
Sting.
Sting. He received. What does he have to do with it? You see that I was coming up with that this morning. Actually, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Shame for recording, and in 2003 he received a Commander of the British Empire. So.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. Okay.
Yes, it does.
So I don't have to show you a picture, not yet. But I just found some very interesting, just short remarks. This is just a 10-minute one. So he helped his father to deliver milk, and by 10 he was obsessed with an old Spanish guitar left by an emigrating friend of his father. So far, so good. Okay. Then, afterwards, he attended the Northern Counties College of Education, now Northumbria University, from 71 to 74 and qualified as a teacher. He taught at St. Paul's, the first school in Cramlington, for 2 years. And all of us know who were into the David Bowie script that he already was the foregroup for the Cherry Vanilla group. So he was in touch with Adrian Belew and Robert Fripp and all these people. And Peter Gabriel, etc., etc. But yes, it's not the subject, David Bowie and the occult. It is, at the moment, at least, it's Sting. What has to do with sun worship? Where do I come up with sun worship at Sting? It's totally ridiculous, isn't it? Well, you see, not going to his, but he has released the album like Nothing Like the Sun. I said that, Nothing Like the Sun? That's a very strange title. What does he have to do with it? What's up? What's he up to? It's a very big album. I have this CD actually. Very famous song, I Will Be Together, Fragile Englishman in New York, and Be Still My Beating Heart, dedicated to his mother who had recently died. It went double platinum. The Secret Marriage from this album was adapted from Hans Eisler, and An Englishman in New York was about Quentin Crisp, and the album title is from William Shakespeare's sonnet, so it's a poem, 130. Really? Are we going to believe this? Well, I don't have to believe that. Just messing up my script here. Yeah. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. So far, so good. It could be from William Shakespeare, but all of us know that William Shakespeare is also a liar, so we do not know actually who was William Shakespeare. Did he exist? Was he in existence, or was it just an artist name from somebody else? So the Rolling Stone article says us, we have to make a review about that very famous album. And the first one from this album is called The Lazarus Heart. Lazarus? Wasn't there a man who was dead in the Bible already, and Jesus Christ has risen him from the dead? So it has to do something with the Bible, I guess, huh? Mr. Sting says, every day another miracle, only death will tear us apart, so it has not something to do with the death and the miracle. I'd say we are just about on the biblical track here. To sacrifice a life for yours, I'd be in the blood of a Lazarus heart. You see, miracle, death, yeah, I'd say that's okay. So it speaks about Freud, yeah, Sigmund Freud, something to do with psychology. Yeah, well, I have to believe that. I believe that he is a very smart guy, and it's nothing to do with the usual thing that we as customers believe to be. The power to remake himself at the time of his darkest hour. You can make up your mind what he's about to. But just let me say, I have found something. In the review of the Rolling Stone, it's been said the golden ball in its mythic dream of an artist whose creativity derives from a wound inflicted by his mother. The golden ball? I said, huh? Really? The golden ball is the yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right in the eye. Right in the eye. The book all about cannibalism, about pagan sun worship, etc., fertility rites. Yeah.
Oh, Michael, comment.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting? Have you ever looked into some of these works that were written by psychologists?
Yeah, that will come later up. Later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need to say anymore, Michael.
Yeah, of course there are references there. They are speaking about a corrupted science, which we like to say. So we are going into that extensively later on.
Yeah, we are.
But just to see that everything is connected. It's the same book where the Wicker Man has been based upon. And it's the same book that Aleister Crowley and James Dean were reading. And it's everything is interconnected.
Yes.
It's interconnected. So that was so far Mr. Sting. But wait, I have forgotten something. He's got an honorary doctorate in music from this Northumbria University. And he has made a song or an album called 10 Summoner's Tale. This is a wordplay on his surname Sumner. Yeah, a summoner to summon up things. Interesting, huh? A summoner. Could be something of the occult, huh? Could. But that's not the big thing. You see, also he recorded music for the Disney film Kingdom of the Sun. Interesting. And nothing to do with the sun, huh? So we are talking about Sun big time of Mr. Sting here. Okay, so in 9/11 he was wanted to have a concert, and he did that during the time of the attacks. I didn't know that either, but I don't want to go into all the things which I found here because I didn't have much time for that. He had been collaborating with Paul Simon and Peter Gabriel, and he was one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Yeah, and his last album, The Last Ship, also mentions including Brian Johnson, the vocalist from AC/DC. There you got all Satanists together. Yeah, Brian Johnson, AC/DC, the guy with Hell's Bells and Highway to Hell, huh? The loud mouth. Okay, so let's move on. He did charity big time, of course, was member of Band 8. Sting joined more than 30 others in an open letter to British Prime Minister David Cameron for immediate decriminalization of drug possession. I wonder what his real purpose behind that could be, but I'll leave it up to your imagination. So what I want to tell you is he has an affinity with yoga. Yoga. Sorry. This is the kind of meditation form with exercises, body exercises. For example, the greeting to the sun. It's very prominent in yoga. It's a position in yoga, actually. Yoga greeting sun. Yeah, sun salutation flow for beginners. Yeah, you see? And people want to sell us as it's just another gymnastic. It's just another exercise like aerobic. No, it isn't. It is a ritual worship. It is a ritual worship. Nothing else. Sun salutation. Okay, let's get back to Mr. Sting. Contributed to rumor about his sexual prowess, including a perpetually 8 hours of sex and blah, la, 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 la. In 2011, he said in the article of Time in a magazine, Sting said that he was an agnostic and that uncertainties of religious faith were dangerous. So agnostics are people who are not quite sure. Okay, so I'll have to show you something. Wow, all these links. This is the front cover of Nothing Like the Sun, okay? That's the front cover. So it has actually, the official explanation has something to do with Shakespeare's Nothing Like the Sun. Yeah, the classic reimagining of Shakespeare's life also is called Nothing Like the Sun, and there's also a movie called Nothing Like the Sun. I have to remind you, we did a Christopher Lee session where we spoke about that the one member of the police, the founding member, Stuart Copeland, the drummer, actually his father was a CIA spy. And he said that the police, Stuart Copeland, said that it was his father's claim that the police were a psyops outfit that upset Sting. Okay? Because his father, of Stuart Copeland, he joined the Corps of Intelligence Police. That's where most likely the name of the band derived from. Yeah, we have talked about that extensively in session 84 of the Satanic Media Agenda, so don't go into that once again. But you only see the first half. You haven't seen the back cover of the CD yet. And that's the back cover.
Oh, yike.
And I got this CD in my possession for more than 30 years.
Yeah, that's right.
And has something to do with Shakespeare. Why is there a so-called Virgin Mary or a Semiramis or what else in the background?
Yeah, look at the arch above there.
Yeah, also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And I just was picking two songs of him. One song from that album is called History Will Teach Us Nothing. It's the contradiction of our series here, Science, the New Religion. He says, in history will teach us nothing. Remember, he was a teacher. He says, without the breath of real freedom, we are getting nowhere fast. If God is dead and an actor plays his part, his word of fear will find their way to a place in your heart. I think, when he's depicting on the back cover here, that figure or that idol or what else, yeah, so that he's not in any faith at all. He says he's an agnostic and he's just making fun of everything. He says if God is dead, that's the same as Nietzsche says God is dead. And he said without the voice of reason, every faith is in its own curse. Yeah, you see, these people are just mocking everything. He's not only mocking Christianity here. He's mocking everybody who is a believer.
Oh, what was the name of this guy? Thomas Paine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Age of Reason.
Voice of Reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Every faith
also reminds me. And don't forget, he's nobility now. No? He has been granted a CBE. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So history will teach us nothing. He says that in the refrain, history will teach us nothing. Yeah? The architects of time. Freemasonry, anybody?
Yeah.
History would teach us nothing. And I say that Brett and myself, we are absolutely, we have the opposite meaning, that history will teach us everything. History and the Bible will teach us everything. The last thing I will go on is from the Soul Cages. Interesting title, Soul Cages. After when his father passed, he said that in that song text, so high above the world tonight, the angels watch us sleeping. When the angels fall, shadows on the wall. And that's, I don't have to go any further, I think. Yeah, he's speaking of fallen angels. It's so obvious right in the face. Yeah, so that was the second excursion. So that finally we are into Medo-Persia. Or aren't we? It was all just about to see and to realize how subtle all the sun worship is. Nothing like the sun. Oh, it's about Shakespeare. Yeah, sure. Why? Because he's a teacher, yeah. And in the same time, on that album, he speaks about the Lazarus and the death and miracles and history teaches nothing. And if God is dead, huh? Has nothing to do with religion, everything to do with Shakespeare, huh? My.
Well, there we go, Michael. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting that you bring this up because, well, I don't know, if our listening audience has had any experience with Sting. I've had lots of experience, like Michael. 30 years of owning this CD. Well, actually, I don't own it anymore. I smashed it up into smithereens and put it in the dumpster. But that's just how I react when I find out that this stuff is no good. And look, Michael, we're approaching this from a place of repentance. We're not looking at this as some form of entertainment anymore. This is very serious, deep level programming that's happened to us. And a lot of our friends, too, or people that we once knew that were at one time friends with us. And yeah, Michael, it's sad how few people come to the knowledge that this is the case, that this is really happening, that we've been so severely propagandized and fed false doctrine that we don't stop to think it, question it enough. Because I think, Michael, there's no way that this could become popular if people really knew, if they really studied this and knew the origins of it. Yeah, history will teach us nothing. What a joke.
What a joke. Yeah.
It's a bad joke. And I knew it even back when the song came out, but I still liked it. You see the problem with that?
It's so catchy, and you see that
it's duplicity. You're accepting duplicity. You know, and I will never do that again. I would hope, by the grace of God, I would hope. But, you know, these things do happen from time to time. You know, you take something in and you start to give it a little time, and the musicality is good. But what isn't good is the message. Very dangerous. But that's what they get you with every single time. They get you with their message. Every single time. I don't care what kind of media it is.
Yeah,
it's all the same.
I'd say we divide the session here. So because now we go
please,
into,
let's finish up then. Yeah.
into Magi now, which has a resemblance to Babylon and also to sun worship, which I wasn't that much aware of, and that I found such interesting topics, because in the next session we will deal about Medo-Persia, because I think, in my humble opinion, it is a little bit underrated.
I was always asking about Medo-Persia, Michael, for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to this next sessions here. However long it takes, I don't care. And I hope that our listeners have the same attitude, because really we don't gain anything out of this unless we have that thirst to know where the origins are of this corrupt thinking that we've been so deeply programmed with, Michael. I like to think of this as like a low-level look into the programming that we received in our youth, and to, you know, for those of you that are maybe our age, Michael and I are in our early 50s, and, you know, or mid 50s, and I know that the vast majority of our listeners are older than us, Michael. So we don't even really have any young listeners in the Brett Norman YouTube channel. And if there are, they don't last long, because you know, we're not hip. We're not with the satanic program here. We're with the repenting, born again, faithful and true to the Bible crowd, which is not popular at all. It's scorned at by this world. It says right in the Bible that we should acquaint ourselves with sorrow, because that's really where it's all headed. And, you know, Jesus was a man of sorrow. He wasn't a man of joy. He wasn't a man of what would we say, physical appearances or success. I mean, read Isaiah 53 and you'll get a clue.
Mm.
You'll get a clue. You know, if you have any kind of heart in you that is broken, and look, I gladly give up my heart. It's not worth it. It was never meant to be, Michael. That's the way I look at this now. I'm very grateful for having the time and the energy to go through all of this with you, Michael, and I'm looking forward to the next session already. So I think
pardon me for that.
down to me.
Yeah, okay, then pardon me for that excursion, but you see that it will all add up in the end. So thank you very much, all the listeners, and God bless. Maranatha.